A perfect competition. The perfect competition is a model of the market based on the assumption that a large number of firms produced identical goods consumed by a large number of buyers. The model of perfect competition also assumes that it is easy for the new firms to enter the market and for existing one to leave. And finally, it assumes that buyers and the sellers have the complete information about the market conditions. As we examine these assumptions in greater details, we can see that they allow us to work with a model more easily. No market fully meets the conditions set out in these assumptions. As it always the case with models, our purpose is to understand the way things work, not to describe them. As the model of perfect competition will prove enormously useful in those understanding the world of requirement in the market. The supply demand theory of this market standard. The assumption of this model of a perfect competition taken together imply that the individual buyers or the sellers in a perfect competitive market actually accept the market price as given, and no a single buyer or seller has any influence over the price. Individuals or firms who must take the market price as given are called the price takers. The consumers or the firms that takes the market price as a given has no ability to influence that price. The price taking firm or a consumer is like an individual who is buying or selling the stocks. He or she looks up the market price and buys and sells that price at that particular price is determined by the supply and demand of the market, not by the individual buyers or sellers. In a perfect competitive advantages and the market which each firm and each consumer is a price taker, the price taking consumer assume that he or she can purchase any quantity at the market price without affecting that price. Similarly, the price taking firm assumes it can sell whatever quantity it wished at the market price without affecting the prices. The main focus of this perfect competition is the neoclassical model, which is a question on how the resources can be allocated most efficiently. It promotes the development of the freely competitive market in which individuals are given as much economic freedom as possible. The individual is left to decide what to buy, what to produce, and what to sell. Ideally, the market should resemble as closely as possible. The model of perfect competition is a theory that can show that a perfectly competitive market can result in the most efficient allocation of the resources. From the narrow viewpoint of economic theory, this can be termed as the optimal result for the society or the socially optimal outcome. This theoretical result applied both to a single market or to all the markets in an economy if all could be the perfectly competitive. Thus, if markets works badly, according to the theoretical model, the government has a duty to individuals and to society to rectify that. And the model of perfect competition also rests on a number of key assumptions like rationality, that the people are economically rational, preferring more of a goods and services they value to the less. And does this sound reasonable? The answer is surely yes. It is possible. The short step from wanting more rather than less of the good thing to wanting to maximize the amount of good things, literally goods you can get. Rational economic man or woman has those objectives and attempt to maximize them. The consumers basically allocate their incomes in order to maximize their satisfaction from the goods and services they consume. Producers allocate those resources in order to maximize their profits. The perfect knowledge. There is a second assumption of this neoclassical model. The economic agent make those decisions in the light of perfect knowledge. Buyers and sellers now all the prices of the goods, all the goods in the market, and know everything they need to know about the quality of the goods, the character of the economic agents, and the government is going to the next. There is no doubt that uncertainty, like a computer with the perfect knowledge, rational economic man can compare the prices with what they have to want and set out to maximize their objectives, be it consumer satisfaction or business profits. It is reality. This is a frequently an unrealistic assumptions, or in a practice, economists will start by examining the world as if perfect knowledge existed, and they can relax this assumption so as to make their analysis more realistic. In reality, this is a frequently an unrealistic assumption of a perfect knowledge. Basically, in a practice, economists will start by examining the world as if perfect knowledge existed, and then they relax this assumption so as to make their analysis more realistic. The neoclassical model as the basis of the comparison with the real world. The same applies to the remainder of the assumptions presented here. No barriers to make the entry or exit if a market is to be truly competitive. There must be a scope for new buyers and the sellers to enter the market. For an old participants to leave and find the other market, there of course applies to a market for resources like labor as well as the market for goods and services. If the wages of plumbers are highly compared to the wages of carpenters, the latter will leave their jobs and look for a jobs as plumbers. The resource mobility, and with this aspect, the homogeneous commodities, that a goods and service associated with a particular market is identical with all respect. For example, in the apple market, all the apples are assumed to be an equal size, equal shape, equal color, equal taste, equal origin, etc. in order that there is nothing to distinguish the one apple in the market from the another one. As with the rationality is much applied analysis, this assumption is relaxed. Indeed, and product differentiation is an important business strategy, as can be seen on the shelves in the shops or supermarket throughout the world. In reality, an apple is not just an apple, but can be a small, large, have a flavor, its shape, sharp, taste, and the color with variety, with the same participants existing in the large number of market size. And how the neoclassical growth theory works, basically it stated that the short-term equilibrium results from varying amount of labor and the capital in the production function. The theory also argues that technological change has a major influence on an economy, and the economic growth cannot continue without technological advances. The neoclassical growth theory outlined there is a three-factor for the growing economies, that is labor, capital, and technology. However, the neoclassical growth theory clarifies that temporary equilibrium is different from the long-term equilibrium, which does not require any of these factors. That's all for now. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video.